Is Marvel Snap shutting down? What's going on with the news? If you were unaware and we've got a hot news take, we're just going to get through all this news, give some comments. I'd love to hear from you below in the comments what your thoughts on everything that's going on here. Multiple articles we're going to cover and some general topics. If you're unaware, Nuverse, it's the publisher for Marvel Snap. Anytime you've used the web store, it's run through Nuverse. ByteDance, and this is from Reuters, so this is a legit news source. ByteDance says to restructure Nuverse and retreat from gaming business. Basically, TikTok maker, and that's something, if you're unaware, that's what this name is from. They make TikTok. I'm sure you've heard of that. To tell staff on Monday, we'll ask staff to stop working on unreleased games, to look for ways to divest from launch titles. What is this talking about? Basically, all right, so we're going to go through this article here. This is November 27th. TikTok maker ByteDance plans to wind down its Nuverse gaming brand and retreat from mainstream video games. 4 people familiar with the matter said. Now, I've also, by the way, gotten a source, I'll call it, that is close to this and confirmed the same. I'll get to some of the things the source said in a little bit. The article also says ByteDance told Reuters that it had decided to restructure its gaming business after review without giving further details. We regularly review our businesses and make adjustments to center on long-term strategic growth areas. Following a recent review, we've made the difficult decision to restructure our gaming business. Now, before I go on further, I will say that, look, they've got multiple games in here. This is not necessarily related to Marvel Snap. So if you're on you're freaking about Marvel Snap right now, let's not do that yet. We'll get to that later, or maybe. Meaning maybe whether we freak out or not. But I think generally speaking, the gaming industry as a whole, and I don't want to divulge too much in this or tangent too much in this, but it's sort of a shit show right now. Like, I mean, I have a channel for Starfield. The game was supposed to be monstrous. I loved it. I took off like 10 days of like, I'm no lifing this game. And it just, I haven't made a video for the game and haven't played it in 3 weeks or so. And it just, I didn't even finish it yet, which tells you something. And that's supposed to be one of the top tier games. Obviously, games, are out there that people's like. Baldur's Gate, it was huge, but there's a lot of problems. You know, you see some Modern Warfare stuff out there. Anyway, that's the gaming industry at large, the economy globally, domestically, as far as the United States having some issues as well. So maybe all of these factors are playing in. The article goes on to say the sources said ByteDance will tell employees on Monday to stop working on unreleased games by December, and that it will look for ways to divest from titles already launched. So basically, they're getting out of the gaming business. The decision is likely to impact hundreds of employees, some of whom learned about the move at the weekend, the people said. Now, this part is the most unfortunate. I always feel, as somebody who's lost their job before, is surprisingly so, this hurts, and I feel for those people. So to everybody out there, I hope you recover. I hope they give you good severance packages. I hope you find new jobs soon. I always want to address that because we're all humans out there at the end of the day. As much as we like the game, that's something I've got a soft spot in my heart for. So I hope everybody out there figures out what they're going to do next. I'm sure there's plenty of opportunity. The Chinese technology firm has no plan to return to the $185 billion global video game market. So they're basically done. Casual gaming brand, I'm going to murder this name, Yahoo, whose games, list some games will not be affected. Neither will casual games on TikTok. We don't really care about that for this video. Reuters reported this month that ByteDance has started seeking buyers for game developing subsidiary Moontoon Technology. That's something else. It doesn't really matter for us. Also overhauled its virtual reality company Pico, cutting much of its content team. ByteDance's 2019 creation of Nuverse was widely seen as a major push into global gaming as a strategic element of its competition with domestic rival Tencent Holdings, the world's biggest gaming company. They're gigantic. If you're not familiar with them, I'm not going to cover them. Go check them out. They're just huge. But Nuverse's performance has been patchy. Its best known game is Marvel Snap, an online card game that amassed a cult following but was not a commercial hit. So, I mean, that in itself, it's interesting that they call it that. I mean, I guess we're all in a cult together. That can be fun. Not a commercial hit. I mean, I can't disagree with that. It's not like the game is, you know, insanely massive as far as like commercially, but I think it's got a nice cult following, like nice little niche market. Other titles include action games. List those. We don't care. Nuverse came into the focus again in 2021 when ByteDance formalized its status as one of its 6 business units under a broader structural overhaul. To build up production capacity, Nuverse acquired external studios C4 Games 2021. That's the end of this article. So basically, they're getting rid of Nuverse. It's going to go away. Now, Nuverse, and we're going to get into what they do for Marvel Snap in a minute. What does that mean to Marvel Snap? What does it mean to Second Dinner? We've got a tweet out from something specifically. Shout out to Marvel Snap Zone. And by the way, we will link all these articles below in the description if you want to go read them yourself. I am going to go over them a little bit because I think for a topic like this, it is important to read some of that. Some of you might be driving, checking something out, etc. But I also want to go through it item by item. So we've got Marvel Snap Zone with a tweet where they basically have the breaking news from Reuters, which we just talked about, and then they'd say, what could this mean for Marvel Snap? So we're kind of getting to our own little cult universe, if you will. I'm going to start calling it that. I'd enjoy if you guys all called it that as well. Let's just embrace our cult ship together. What does this mean? So let's go over to Marvel Snap Zone, because the truth is this is where it starts getting covered by, topics and people that might have done some research to figure out what this stuff is. All right, so the Marvel Snap Zone article, ByteDance to shut down the publisher of Marvel Snap, Nuverse. Nuverse, the publisher of Marvel Snap, is reported to be shut down by its parent company, ByteDance. Who are they? What does it mean? Blah, blah, blah. News just broke. We already went over that's happening. Who is ByteDance and Nuverse? We kind of talked about this a little bit, but let's see how Snap Zone looks at this. Nuverse handles the publishing side of Marvel Snap. It's very important. Again, we'll look at that in a second. The gaming division of ByteDance, the Chinese company who is behind one of the biggest apps in the world, TikTok, covered that. This was their entry into gaming, to rival the industry dominated by giant Tencent with their flagship title, League of Legends. You've probably heard of it. Nuverse is currently servicing games such as blah, 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 we don't really care, and other titles currently in development with in-house and third parties. What is happening to Nuverse? Currently, the gaming industry is affected by the economy at large. We talked about that already. According to Reuters, anonymous sources told them that ByteDance is to internally announce today the shutting down of Nuverse's gaming brand and a full retreat from mainstream video games with no plan to return to the market. Again, we've talked about that. Furthermore, ByteDance will allegedly tell employees to stop working. We talked about that on the unreleased games. We talked about that already. And then it just talks about some of their upcoming games. So again, what does this mean for Marvel Snap? I talked earlier about using their web store. This is what you'd typically see if you're on it. I enjoyed it mainly because I liked the fact that I could gift things. That's a request that I definitely have for Second Dinner. The game was this web store made it really, really easy so that I could do giveaways. I was just said, hey, what's your in-game name? Here you go. Boom, like that. Some of the other games I've played where I've done giveaways, much more complicated. So tell your folks at Marvel Snap, please, please, please keep that around. Also, we want to do a shopping cart type option as well. I also highly recommend some of these web stores because there is this option of, I hate to say it, but getting around some of the app costs with, Apple, Android, etc. Not too long ago, they talked about how they overhauled the web store, redeem codes, incentives. That's fine. Double the gold, but that's not on the actual Nuverse site yet anyway. It is also like that Nuverse also handled customer support, service and support. Events such as battle recaps, Discord Nitro collaborations, and so on. Content for new cards and other various promotions. So some of that stuff is gonna affect us. So it's saying here, it is also likely, not for sure, that Nuverse also handled customer service and support. Events, list the events, content for new cards, and other various promotions. Some of those things, it's going to change. Now, we don't know exactly what it's going to be. We can certainly speculate, which we will do, but that's kind of what we got. Here is their response from the community. Here's their response from the community manager on the official Discord, who is part of the Nuverse team. Dear Snappers, some of our players have expressed their concerns regarding reported structural changes at Nuverse. We wish to thank you for your concern and assure you that regardless of any change at Nuverse, Snap will continue to operate and flourish for the future. Thank you and happy snapping. This is from Ultra Sky. While exactly how Marvel Snap will be affected by this news, if true, is currently not known, monetization of the game could possibly play a factor here. Absolutely. And that's the thing I want to talk about the most, but let's just finish this article and a couple other things. But I do think that monetization, it could go either way, frankly. It could. We'll see. What about Second Dinner? As players might commonly know, more about Second Dinner is the development studio behind Marvel Snap. So that's the important difference. Publisher, developer. Spearheaded by Ben Brode, iconic former Hearthstone game director. Although they are based in the United States, we do not know their level of relation to the publisher itself. And this is something that I need to hammer home. I don't care what anybody says out there, unless it's Ben Brode. Nobody's going to know specifically what the contract was and the setup was with Nuverse, unless they were directly involved with that contract. I don't care if it's me. I don't care if it's another content creator out there. And truth is we're not going to ever find that information. But it does say, according to mobilegamer.biz, Marvel Snap generated almost 100 million since official launch in 2022. So October of 2022. So that's 100 million in about a year. That's does it say revenue? It says generated almost. That's probably revenue. That's a big difference. I get in arguments with people about this all the time who use those like third-party apps, Second Tower, whatever the heck it's called. I hate them. They're trash. They're never always right, and it's just revenue. So people think people are making 100 million. Why can't things be cheaper? That's not this video. Second Dinner is also hiring for an unannounced game currently in development. Now, that was probably prior to this. Second Dinner might or might not have known this was even happening, but I still think the fact that they're showing interest in another game, that means they're doing well. We don't know anything about, but there was some discussion about a mobile puzzle game for that new game that might come out. There's no doubt Marvel Snap has innovated in the digital card game genre and made a huge impact, but it remains to be seen how the publishing deal has panned out for Nuverse themselves. The major question lies whether Nuverse will agree to divest Marvel Snap to Second Dinner or another publishing company, and if the change will bring more positive changes to the game going forward. They have a conclusion here, which isn't really a conclusion. What do you think is going to happen in the future? Will Second Dinner be managing on its own or find a new publisher? Let us know your comments below. So one of the things I do want to look at is just Google. What is the video game publisher versus developer? In the gaming world, developers are the ones creating the games, while the publishers are the one who takes the product and finds ways to make money for both parties. Okay, you could find more probably intricacies with it, but that's a good summation of what's happening here. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. I also tried to look and see who maybe like funded Marvel Snap to see if it was like Nuverse. It's funny that Google says what company owns Marvel Snap. It says Nuverse. You know, it's also says that it does say that it does say developed by Second Dinner and published by Nuverse for Android, iOS, Mac, OS, and Windows, etc., etc. So now let's just circle this thing home. I'm going to stay on the Marvel Snap article because I don't want to go back to Reuters because it's just a bright white. I already mentioned some of the caveats about just look, nobody really knows. I do have a birdie that said this should not be affecting Marvel Snap. It should be fine. The birdie knows works, maybe, I don't know, associated with. I want to be careful with what I say because people get in trouble with this, but Marvel Snap should not be affected by this change. Okay. So I say that with plenty of, sort of we'll sees, but now things that I want to think about with this is like, who could publish this game? This is again, just Google. So we've got other potential mobile game publishers, right? EA, get worried if that happens. Lots of problems there. Activision, whatever. I don't know some of these. Bethesda, I mentioned Starfield earlier. That's never going to happen. But Activision Blizzard, very well known. Capcom, again, EA Mobile. Some of these other ones. Kabam, Ubisoft. Kabam is known for, it's a California company. So there's some chances there. They've got, Marvel Contest of Champions. I don't know. I can't say that I'm super, super excited about that. But anyway, so there's different publishers out there. We talked about what that might mean. My hope here is that we won't be affected by this. We'll get our new web store. Marvel Snap is going to just keep functioning fine. They're taking a kind of a slow December, which I think is good. I like that they're doing that. I just took time with my family for Thanksgiving in the States. Really enjoyed that. Decided cognitively that, look, I'm just going to focus with them, take a break from content, etc. Now I'm back, and so now it's like, okay, I get that Marvel Snap / Second Dinner might be doing the same in December to have some time off. I'm good with no OTAs, etc. We'll see what the patch brings. So does this mean it's the end of Marvel Snap? Are we all cultists? Yes, we're cultists. Is it the end of Marvel Snap? No, it's not. Could it? Maybe. That's something that I think people are going to speculate for a while. You know, you've got plenty of people out there saying the game sucks, etc. That doesn't matter what anybody says. How do you like it? What do you think? Now, I would like to hear from Second Dinner at some point when they can, and it's probably going to be a while, unfortunately, because these things take time. I've played games before where the game changed hands, I swear 3 or 4 or 5 times, and things got weird for a while, and it was for a while. It was a few months. And finally they'd announced something. Hey, we've been purchased by, you know, these people. Nothing's going to change, blah, blah, blah. You know, sometimes monetization can change. Now, that's the thing I worry about the most is who comes in. Now, if it's a publisher, it's just like, look, you're just publishing the game. You're out there, you know, helping me with transactions, doing the things we mentioned earlier. You know, their goal is to help make more money. I look at it almost as like marketing, right? So you pay somebody to market your stuff, but you can find anybody to do that. Like, all right, well, that marketing company closed. Let's go find another one that's just as good or similar, and they'll find ways to help us with this. So hopefully they've got a good connection somewhere. They've got somebody that can do this. And that's it. I think we survive. We do good. I'd love to hear from you below. I don't think this is that big of a deal right now. I really don't. It could, but I don't see this being a problem for us playing the game, you know. And if this is the thing I'm preparing myself for. And I will caveat or like preface saying this is I am the type of person who plans for the worst and hopes for the best all the time. Now, sometimes it drives me nuts. The industry that I worked in more, literally things go wrong nonstop. So you constantly have to plan for these things. And so it's like jaded my brain to always think something's going to go wrong. But that's a depressing life. And I don't will that on anybody. I hope that you think about all the positive things, because I believe in, like, I don't know, just positive energy right now. Like, I don't want to get too woo on you, but yeah, so I want to stay positive with this. I think it's going to good. And look, if it doesn't go good, we're on Twitter. We'll find another game to play together. Life will move on. But comment below. Appreciate you making it this far in the video. A little bit of a narrative, a little bit of reading, but I thought it was an important one to cover, so wanted to do it. Until next time, we hope you have a wonderful day.